Hello everyone, hello again. Here we are. We're in the cellar today because it's a very nice day, and you think that's strange, but on a very nice day, sometimes you've got a lot of noise going on outside, a lot of work in the yard, a lot of people cleaning up for spring. So the cellar is really the last refuge, if you'd like. Um, so watching Hani, my friend Hani's last video, I was inspired by his Rostaing tasting. So I came into the cellar and I dug out one of my own to commemorate the visit we had together with him and others a year and a half ago to the Rostaing Domaine. And so we're having today a Côte Rôtie by René Rostaing called Ampodium 2016. Now, Ampodium is sort of the classic cuvée, if you'd like. It's really what Rostaing started with, and it's a combination of barrels from different properties throughout the Côte Rôtie area, with a little bit of Viognier thrown in. As we've discussed in the past, that is an acceptable and pretty well used custom of putting some Viognier up to a few percentage points into the wine. I think sometimes, as we said, sometimes it's actually planted together in the same vineyard. Sometimes it's fermented, it's sort of aged together, vinified together. It really depends. I'm not quite sure how they do this. Now, Rostaing, as Hani described, is one of the iconic figures in the Côte Rôtie. His family name, if you read some of the stuff in Kermit Lynch's book, goes back, we're talking centuries or more. He's always been there. His wife's family were some of the most famous Côte Rôtie producers, and he inherited a lot of that land when they passed on, and now he's passing this on to his son Pierre, who actually, Pierre did engineering studies. He, went to one of the best engineering schools in France. He's traveled the world working in vineyards in Australia and in Oregon, I think. He's like a lot of this new generation, like when we talked about Le Vieux Donjon last week, Claire Michel, the third generation owner, has worked in California, in Cabernet country. So this young generation of French winemakers, and I bet it's the same everywhere, they are really going out there and looking at other things before they come back and work in the family business, so to speak. Anyway, this is Ampodium. Rostaing has some really sort of, if you want, higher level Côte Rôties that are the mono vineyard, single vineyard, like Côte La Landonne, Côte Brune, Côte Blonde. This is Ampodium. This is the sort of the entry level, but it's entry level. Again, everything's relative. 2016 was a great year. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 are all really, really good years in the Rhône, both north and south. Coming on the heels of okay years in 13, 14. But, even in those okay years, as we know, these guys really know how to make superior wine. Anyway, I probably should not have opened it today. I should have waited 5 years, but sometimes you can't really wait, and you want to just go back and, sort of touch and enjoy some of the things that have a meaning to you, either, as we discussed before, because you know the makers, or you visited there, or you have some connection with a friend. And here, basically, we have all of the above. So here we are. It's a Syrah with a little bit of Viognier. The color is very Syrah, although it's more red than purple. This is not, but I guess Syrah can vary that way, whether you're in Saint-Joseph or Cornat, Hermitage, Côte Rôtie. It seems that there is some variation on the coloring, so to speak. It is pretty dark. I don't know if they fine or filter. I know that they tend to not destem. They believe in clusters, but it depends on the vintage, and they sometimes destem. Some cuvées they do, like maybe this one they destem more on this one than on some of the others. But it's kind of a pretty fluid from that point of view. It's got really a lovely bouquet. It's restrained. It doesn't really come at you with the fruit. It's restrained. It's got a little bit of that sort of herbal, sort of Provençal herbs, but not like in the south of the Rhône. More something that's kind of more to do with game, maybe with meat, with a little bit of fat. Uh, there's definitely fruit on there, but it's not overwhelming. And I do think maybe because it's too young, it's been open for 4 or 5 hours, so that should have helped. I think we're going to get a little bit of that licorice on the tail end of this. I can already sense it on the nose. Overall, I'd say it's restrained, it's savory more than fruity, and it's the alcohol is starting to show up, although it's not very alcoholic. Let's taste it. Mm. Mm. It's really what you imagine French Syrah to be like. What do I mean by that? I mean, it's got, there's a lot of pepper, like green peppercorn, white peppercorn in the Rhone. This one has that too, but it's a little more on the, it's not as green. It's more maybe black or so it's a little bit of that, but not as powerful. You've got a little bit of the hard candy, not a lot. Again, it's just a lot of subtle, really flavors that mix together. The finish is medium at this point. I think you feel the tannins, you feel the finish, but it doesn't sort of linger on forever. Gonna try again. The green peppercorn now is starting to show up. So I think as you swirl it, as you drink it, you're going to have more of that, a little bit of that mouth puckering pepperiness, but that's fine. I mean, that's actually very typical. I think the fruit is starting to develop, and it's more of the dark red fruits bordering on the cherry and maybe cassis, but again, not very sweet. It's overall, I'd say it's really much more savory wine. It's restrained. It's got a lot of class. So you sort of, want to give it some respect, so to speak. That doesn't mean you don't drink it. And the finish is starting to open up in your mouth. I do think I opened it too young, or maybe I should have opened it this morning, but I think this is something we're going to enjoy in a couple of hours, very much so on the terrace with some friends. Anyway, cheers and see you soon.